You're watching Seattle Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. I am your fearless leader, Tyler Schultz, here with you. Thanks for joining us. Over the last several days, the Seahawks have made a few roster moves as they have released a few guys. They have signed a couple of others. We'll tell you everything you need to know coming up in just a bit. Before we do, folks, you may have heard about the sub-battle we got going on with Vikings Now for the month of May. We took their guy, Sam Darnold. They took our guy, Sam Howell. And Patrick Seatman, the host of Vikings Now, friend of the show, used to work with us here. He said that he wanted to duke it out, and he tried claiming that Sam Darnold is still their guy. I cannot let that happen, folks. I want to stick it to Vikings Now and win this sub-battle for the month of May. Battle of the Sams. We got to win it for Sam Darnold. For daily Seahawks coverage, our news and rumors, our live shows twice a week, Q&A mailbags, breaking news, and more, you got to be subscribed to the channel. YouTube.com/SeahawksTV. Subscribe now for free, and we'll get started with today's show. So we've seen a lot of movement in Seattle after rookie minicamp of players that have been released and players that have been signed. And I want to go over every single one that has occurred within the last week. If you missed something, here's your chance to kind of play catch-up in addition to the new moves that have been made as well. So let's go ahead and tell you what you need to know. T.J. Jackson was released, the defensive end out of West Virginia. Jackson Woodard, the linebacker out of UNLV, he was released as well, and he was viewed by many, including me, as one of the top UDFAs that the Seahawks signed. Then you fast forward to Monday, River Cracraft, who there was some excitement about. He wasn't bad with the Miami Dolphins at all. He was released. And then you had a couple signings also on Monday. Montorie Foster Jr. at the wide receiver position. He was signed out of Michigan State. We'll talk more about him coming up later. And then De'Aaron Jackson, linebacker from Kentucky. He was also signed by Seattle. So we'll go in depth on Foster and Jackson in just a bit, but let's kind of recap what has happened with these moves. First off, I'm surprised to see Woodard go. He was the Mountain West Conference Defensive Player of the Year this past season, a two-time Mountain West Conference selection. I thought he was sneaky good, and he was projected to go on day 3 of the draft. According to our own Tom Downey, he had a 5th-round grade on him. So maybe he didn't have a good camp. I don't know exactly, but I was very surprised to see this move. Now, we see players come and go. This might be just their way of opening up a roster spot for somebody right now, but I wouldn't say the door is completely closed on him. Maybe in a week, a month, 2 months, we could be talking about Jackson Woodard getting another chance and he could be back. So I wouldn't say that we've seen necessarily the last of him, but it was a bit of a surprise. Now, Cracraft, this is somebody they gave up on pretty quick. He was a pretty good special teams player with the Miami Dolphins. He had a few decent touchdown scores. I thought when they signed him that they were looking at him as a potential good depth piece, but that did not happen. He didn't really have much of a chance either as team activities just now really started. So that one was surprising. With that said, big picture, the players that were released and the players that were signed, this doesn't change much. There are some things that are shocking about these moves, but overall, this doesn't change the outlook of this team too much in that situation. So let's ask you to whip out your red pen and weigh in on our pinned comment today. Let us know what your grade would be for the Seahawks roster moves, A, B, C, D, or F. I'll give you my grade in just a moment, but want to hear from you guys first. Get your grades in and let us know. My grade is a B, although I personally would have liked to see Jackson Woodard stay and River Cracraft stay. The team didn't get worse from these moves. These are minor moves that were made on the part of John Schneider for guys competing for roster spots at this juncture. At the end of the day, this is all a big experiment. We all remember going to the science fair in elementary and middle school. My science experiment, by the way, was the old Diet Coke and Mentos, which I quickly learned does not work with Walmart soda. You got to use the real Diet Coke. You can't be using the Dr. Sam or whatever it's called, or Diet Sam. But this is all an experiment at this point. This is not make or break these moves. But nonetheless, with that said, let's talk about the players that have signed, starting with Montorie Foster Jr. out of Michigan State, a UDFA, was there from 2020 to 2024. And I'll be honest, when I have to pull up this stat to fill in the resume, it's usually not a great sign. He was a two-time academic All-Big Ten, which the Big Ten, every school except Nebraska now, is a AAU institution. Very, very smart within the Big Ten. They pride their academics in that league. So he's got a good IQ. He's got that going for him. But not a ton of production. He had 100-plus career receptions and 1,000-plus career receiving yards. But those are numbers I want in a season, not over a career. Here's his stats from 2024. He had a total of 46 catches, 588 yards, 3 touchdowns, averaged about 13.2 yards a reception as well. Bottom line, there's a lack of production here. Okay? Even with the UDFAs, even with players joining the team late to compete for roster spots, I would expect more than those type of numbers that he put up at Michigan State here. Honestly, I would be surprised if he ends up making this team. Not saying he can't, but his back's against the wall. He's got a lot to prove if he's going to end up making this 53-man roster when it's all said and done. Meanwhile, let's talk about De'Aaron Jackson. I think he's the more intriguing of these two signings. Played at Kentucky from 2020 to 2024. He was Kentucky's leading tackler in 2022 and in 2023. Suffered a season-ending injury this year, missed the final 4 games, so that cost his chance of being the leading tackler for a third straight season. But you talk about consistency. When he was healthy out there, he recorded a tackle in 31 straight games played with the Wildcats. And these are the type of numbers that we're talking about what Jackson was able to do in his career. You can see in 2022, in 13 games played, he had 67 tackles, 4 TFLs, 2 pass breakups. Last season, when he played the full campaign, accounted for 89 total tackles, 8 TFLs, 2 sacks, 4 pass breakups. Also was able to haul in 2 interceptions and a pick 6. And last year was going pretty good prior to the injury. 38 tackles, 5 TFLs, 1 sack, 3 pass breakup, and 1 interception. I think that this is somebody that's kind of sneaky good. Tackling machine. You can never have too many of those. The injury, I think, held him back from what could have been a pretty decent year this year with the Kentucky Wildcats. I don't think he's a bad football player. I think this one is the more interesting signing, especially with Seattle lacking depth at the linebacker position at this point. Who was the better signing? Was it Foster or was it Jackson? If you think it was Foster, type MF for Foster. If you think it was Jackson, type DJ for Jackson. Chime in the comment section and let us know. Seahawks Today is your one-stop shop for all things Seattle Seahawks as we bring you news, rumors, weekly live shows, and more here on the channel. I love talking about the Seattle Seahawks, and I love talking about it with you guys. And I know it's the offseason. Headlines can be a little bit dry at times, but we're still going to stay on top of this team in every way possible, and we're going to bring you videos each and every day on the channel. If you love the Seahawks, you got to be subscribed. Turn on notifications. That way you never miss a moment. Stay plugged in with what we're doing each and every day. Best part about it, doesn't cost you a thing. YouTube.com/SeahawksTV. Overall, the Foster signing doesn't move the needle at all, but I am intrigued to see what Jackson could potentially do and if maybe he's got an outside chance to make the roster for Seattle potentially. I think he's got the better shot to do so. So one more look to recap these roster moves. Jackson released. Woodard released. Might not be the last we see of Woodard. Cracraft released. I was a bit surprised with that one. there. But maybe that's the sign that Seattle feels pretty good about the receiver room. Foster signed, and then Jackson signed as well. For more coverage beyond what you see on this show, give me a follow on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Tyler Jones Live, as I'm keeping you up to date with your Seattle Seahawks over on that platform. At Tyler Jones Live, give me a follow there. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.